Hello and welcome to another episode of Fit and Healthy After 50 with Dawnine. Today I want to talk to you about supplements. Now, these are the things that I have discussed with my doctor and I've done research on as things that can help with the hormonal symptoms that I have faced through the years. So what works for me may not work for you. So the first thing that I need to tell you is do your own research, figure out what symptoms are bothering you the most. Do some research and then talk to your doctor, especially if you are already on any type of medication, particularly hormone replacement therapy or bioidentical hormones, because these supplements could counteract what you're already taking or could make your symptoms worse. So just be sure and do your due diligence and be sure and talk with your doctor, just like I did. And again, what works for me may not work for you, but I'm going to give you a variety of choices and different things that I have worked with through the years to see what works, what doesn't work. The amount that you take, how often you take it, depends upon your age, your stage in menopause, if you're already there, if you're in perimenopause, or if you're in postmenopause and still having some issues. And the other thing I want to tell you about is all the information that I'm going to talk to you about today and more is available in my best-selling book, Eat, Drink, and Be Merry Through Menopause. This book is available on Amazon.com. If you just go onto your Amazon account and type in the title, Eat, Drink, and Be Merry Through Menopause, it will pop right up. This is a wonderful girlfriend's gift. It is for anyone who wants to learn how to eat healthy, change their habits, feel better, sleep better, look better. So it's not all about menopause. It's about what you can do regardless of your stage in life to make yourself feel better and to deal with hormonal issues like hot flashes, night sweats, weight gain, things like that. So go on Amazon, Eat, Drink, and Be Merry Through Menopause. Grab your copy and get some for your girlfriends today. So let's jump into the subject of supplements. Now, the first thing that we need to talk about is where are you going to store your supplements? It's very important with medications, whether it's prescription, over the counter, or if it's vitamins, minerals, herbal supplements, that you keep them in a place where they are not going to be subject to temperature fluctuations. So the bathroom medicine cabinet is really not a good place to store your medications because the steam from the shower and the bathtub, that can get some humidity going and really affect those things if you keep them in your bathroom medicine cabinet. If you have a hall linen closet, that's another good option. Now, where I keep mine, I'm in my kitchen and I keep them in this cabinet right here, which is the furthest away from all of the hot and cold sources on the other side of the kitchen. So that's a perfect place for me to keep them, and they're easily accessible. I've got a big counter space to be able to deal with them on a daily basis. So find your place that you're going to store them, and then you might want to get some handy storage bins to be able to separate them, your daytime from your nighttime, and be able to easily pull them out of wherever you're storing them to replenish your pill box. This is the next storage idea. Now, I do this because I take probably 8 to 10 tablets in the morning and maybe another 6 to 10 at night. So rather than opening up those individual bottles in the morning and in the evening, I just fill up my pill reminder on a weekly basis. I usually do it on Sunday so that I have it done for the whole week. And I put my morning, of course, each day in the morning, and then the evening each day in the evening. So this is a real convenience and a huge time saver. If you take a lot of supplements, this is the way to do it, in my opinion, because it does save you an awful lot of time. So let's jump in and talk about the supplements that I take during the day. Now, the reason that I take some during the day and some at night is that the ones I take during the day tend to kind of rev up your metabolism, maybe give you a little boost of energy during the day, and you don't want to take those at night and interrupt your sleep. And then by the same token, the ones that I take at night are the ones that kind of tend to calm the body down, help you to fall into a nice restful sleep, and help with things like insomnia and things that happen at night like hot flashes and night sweats, or if you have muscle aches and pains while you are sleeping. So that's why I divide them between night and day. Now, you may have a different experience. Some of the nighttime supplements that I take may not make you sleepy. So just kind of play around with it. You know your body better than anybody, and so you figure out what's going to work best for you. Okay? So let's jump right in. The first thing I want to talk about is the B vitamins. Now, this is a super B complex This contains all of the B vitamins except for B12 because it kind of is, it's a little bit different. It doesn't like to be combined in a tablet with other B vitamins, and we'll talk about that in just a minute. But the B complex vitamins are really important for mood stabilization. So if you have mood swings, especially this time of year, depending upon where you live, it's starting to get cold here in Southeast Texas. We have had an entire week of no sunshine, and that just kills me. I get seasonal depression very easily during the wintertime. So if you're that type of person and those gray winter days really get you down, then you need to be taking Super B complex, especially during these winter months. Now, if you are having mood swings at other times of the year, if you're still having a cycle and you kind of see that your mood is kind of changing a little bit before and during your cycle, then this is definitely something you would want to take. Now, if your mood issues are more than that, if they are severe, if you have thoughts of harming yourself or someone else, by all means talk to your doctor, because that's something more than what B complex can do. But it does help regulate the feel-good chemicals in your brain, serotonin and dopamine, which are responsible for making us feel good and keeping our mood stable and kind of making us happy. Kind of does the same thing as a nice bag of potato chips or a big bar of chocolate. So B complex for mood stabilization. Now let's talk about B12. All right, B12 is something that a lot of us become deficient in as we get older. So if you are experiencing brain fog or memory lapses or headaches or body aches that are not explainable for any other reason, you are probably low in B12. Now, the best way to take B12 is sublingual, which is a liquid drop that you put under your tongue. It absorbs into the body much faster, and it is metabolized by the body much easier in that form. This is actually a dissolvable tablet that you put under your tongue, and it does much the same thing. Sometimes it's hard for me to find the liquid B12 that I really like because it doesn't have any preservatives, colors, flavors, any of that mess in it. And when I went to my usual place that I purchased my supplements from, they were out of the sublingual, so I got the dissolvable tablet instead. And that brings up another good point. All of your vitamins, supplements, minerals, herbal supplements, all of those things are going to have a nutrition label on the back and an ingredients list. So if you're like me and you don't want all those artificial things going into your body that your body doesn't recognize as food and works really hard to get out of your body, then make sure that you read the ingredients list, because you'll find things in vitamins and supplements like colors, preservatives, fillers, just all sorts of junk that you don't need. So do your due diligence again. Look for those products that are naturally made, and don't be fooled by the label that says all natural or something like that. Make sure that you read the label to see exactly what you're getting. Okay, so B vitamins for mood stabilization. Now let's talk about low libido. Now that's something that can happen to us as we go through the hormone changes of menopause. Those feelings that are in our brain sometimes don't make it all the way downstairs where they need to be, and it's just not like we were when we were in our 20s and 30s. So this supplement here, this is actually taken by both men and women to help the same thing. DHEA is a substance that is actually made by your body, and as we get older, those levels start to drop, just like all of our other hormone levels. So DHEA in tablet form can actually help if you have low libido. Now you want to check again with your doctor, because if you are on any other type of medication, you may not be able to take this. So please check with your doctor before you begin taking DHEA. Next, let's talk about vitamin D. Now this kind of goes along with the mood stabilization of the B vitamins, because vitamin D is what is made by our bodies when we are exposed to the sun. So during these winter months when there is no sun in some places where you may be living, or you have a bunch of gray days like I've had here in Southeast Texas, your vitamin D production is really going to tank. So it's good, especially during the winter months, to take vitamin D, especially if you are experiencing some of that seasonal depression or you're having, some of the mood issues. But vitamin D is also real important to your calcium intake. And we'll talk about calcium in a minute. I take my calcium at night. But when you take calcium, you need to combine it with vitamin D so that it goes into the right places in your body and it is absorbed into your hair, your skin, your teeth, your nails, your bones, the places where the calcium needs to go. So without vitamin D, You could end up with kidney stones and plaques in the brain and things like that. So make sure your calcium is also taken along with vitamin D. Now, you can take up to 10,000 international units of vitamin D per day. And during the wintertime, that's what I do. I up it, and then in the springtime, I kind of back off of it a little bit. So again, check with your doctor, talk to him or her about your calcium intake, how much of that you should take, and then how much vitamin D you should combine with it. Now let's talk about some of the symptoms that we can have with menopause that causes some discomfort and some things that you can take that will help that. Vitamin E can help with skin and hair issues that we have as we get older. Your skin gets dry, your hair gets dry, you start to maybe experience hair loss. Vitamin E is really good for that. I recently learned when I had my yearly well woman check with my doctor, I have suffered with fibrocystic disease for, gosh, the better part of 30 years now. I've had all kinds of lumpectomies, I've had all kinds of stuff done. And the older that I get and my estrogen starts to drop, the better my fibrocystic disease is getting. But every now and then, those lumps come back. You know, I have to look at my diet and see, have I had too much caffeine? You know, there's some things that you can eat that can contribute to that disease process. But my doctor told me if I would up my vitamin E intake to 800 international units per day, or let me see, 800 milligrams, 800 milligrams, that it would help with the lumpy, rocks in your breast kind of feeling that you might get if you suffer with breast tenderness during your cycle or if you have fibrocystic disease. So I was really excited to learn about that. And I also obtained some pure vitamin E oil that is 56,000 international units that I actually apply topically. And within a couple of days, I was starting to experience some relief. So if you're having breast tenderness or if you have fibrocystic disease, talk to your doctor about your vitamin E intake. Next is flaxseed oil. Now, if you take an omega-3 supplement like fish oil, flaxseed oil has the same omega-3s in it as fish oil, so you don't need to take both. Now, the reason I take flaxseed oil is that it helps with hot flashes. So that if you experience hot flashes, you might want to substitute flaxseed oil for your fish oil or your krill oil if you're taking some other type of omega-3 supplement, but don't take them both at the same time. Now, flaxseed oil also does all the other wonderful things that omega-3s do for your circulatory system. So if you're having hot flashes, flaxseed oil is something that you can add to your intake. Another one for hot flashes is evening primrose oil. Now, just because in the name it says evening doesn't mean you need to take it in the evening. I choose to take it in the morning. And again, it's something that can help with occasional hot flashes. Next is black cohosh. Now, this is something you may have heard about. This is an herbal supplement that also helps with hot flashes as well as night sweats. And again, if you're having these issues and you're already taking hormone replacement therapy or bioidentical hormones, you really need to talk to your doctor before doing anything with the black cohosh or the evening primrose oil or the flaxseed oil, because what you're taking may already be helping your symptoms. But if you're wanting to get off of that and do something different, then you really need to discuss with your doctor how to do that. You may not need to stop completely. They may need to lower your dosage and wean you off of it before you try anything new. Now, let's talk about resveratrol. Resveratrol is a potent antioxidant, and it's found in red wine. You would have to drink an awful lot of red wine to get the benefit of taking resveratrol in supplement form. And that really wouldn't be good for your liver and other organ systems in your body. So I'm not suggesting that, but resveratrol is found in tablet form, and it's very concentrated, so you can take the supplement form and get the good benefit of it rather than drinking too much red wine. This antioxidant is really good for our circulatory system. It helps to prevent aging by eliminating the free radicals in your system, and that's in a whole other topic of a science episode that we could do. But suffice it to say, it's like pouring water on a fire. If you are experiencing wrinkles and skin issues, and maybe your circulation is not as good as it should be, then you need to be taking an antioxidant like resveratrol. Now, some doctors recommend CoQ10, and that's another very good antioxidant that you could take. But resveratrol has some other properties that also help with menopausal symptoms that you might want to discuss with your doctor. Now, last, I want to talk about St. John's wort. Now, this is an herb, and this is for mood swings that are really a little bit more serious than just the occasional, my cycle's coming, I'm irritable, I want to bite everybody's head off. This is more for the depression that kind of sets in and lingers on and on for a week or more. But it's not the kind of depression that you're having serious thoughts of harming yourself or others. That's where you need to go make an appointment with your doctor and talk about maybe some prescription medication. But this is for those mood swings that just, they come on and just linger for a few days. And, maybe you need to take this during your cycle if you're still having one. I really don't take it very often because I don't find that I've got that kind of depression that I need to, have a real pick-me-up. But it's something I keep on hand just in case. If I can feel it coming and, I'm sitting at my desk at my office and burst into tears for no reason, well, it's time to take St. John's wort for a couple of days. So that's my daytime stuff. So let's get all that out of the way. And let's talk about the nighttime supplements. Now, again, the reason I take these at night is because most of them have an effect on me that makes me sleepy, lulls me into a nice sleep, or they help with issues that I have in the nighttime hours while I'm sleeping. Now, for you, of course, you might want to kind of try and just see how these affect you before you decide if you're going to take them at daytime or nighttime. And, of course, talk to your doctor as well. So let's start with some of these I take in combination, and I want to talk to you about them all together. So let me kind of get them situated. Okay, let's talk about calcium since we've already touched on the topic. Now, calcium is extremely important for us as we age because as our hormone levels drop, we have a tendency to lose bone mass. And that can cause osteoporosis, and it can also cause bone fracture. So you really want to take care of your bones as you age, and calcium is the way to do that. Now, you need to talk to your doctor about this because he or she may want to do a bone density test just to see kind of where you are and get a baseline for where you are and where you need to be. Now, this is what happened with me about 10 years ago. I had a bone density test because I have osteoarthritis and was dealing with some symptoms with that. And so my doctor wanted to go ahead and do a bone density test, even though I was only in my early 40s at the time. And it turned out that I was having some issues and needed to up my calcium. So she had me taking 1,200 milligrams a day for the better part of about 5 years. Then she redid my bone density test, and lo and behold, the calcium had worked. My bone density was much better. So I was able to lower my calcium intake to 600 milligrams per day, which usually is about the recommended dosage for a woman in her 50s. Now, as we get older, when you go for your well woman checks, you will be asked to have a bone density test when you are in your 50s, and for sure after you have finished menopause and you're on the other side of it, because that's when our bone density can really start to suffer. So be sure that you talk to your doctor about calcium and what he or she recommends that you should take. And remember, it has to go along with vitamin D. There's a lot of calcium brands on the market that have vitamin D in them already. So you'd want to be sure that you read the label again, see what the milligram dosage is of the calcium and of the vitamin D, and make sure that that matches up with what your doctor recommended. Now, I touched on CoQ10 a few minutes ago. This is that other antioxidant that you can take. This is really good for heart health. I take both CoQ10 and resveratrol. I don't have any heart issues or circulatory issues or anything like that, but it's just kind of as a buffer just to make sure that nothing happens. So it actually helps to keep your blood flowing really well, prevents the blood cells from getting sticky and sticking to each other, which can cause blood clots and lead to stroke. So talk to your doctor about how many milligrams you should take, because CoQ10 is relatively expensive and it comes in varied milligram dosages. So you would want to talk to your doctor about what's best for you so that you're not spending your money on something that you really don't need. Okay? We'll save that one for just a minute. Okay, let's talk about turmeric. Now, turmeric has been all over social media lately because there's a lot of different protein powders that now have turmeric. There's ideas about cooking with it and making golden milk and, all this kind of stuff. Well, all of that is great, but the best way, in my opinion, to get your turmeric is in capsule form because, number one, it's easy. Number two, it's convenient. Number three, you don't have to cook up something to eat or drink or whatever. You just take it in capsule form. Now, turmeric is awesome for any type of inflammatory response. I take turmeric if I get a headache. if I have like a stress headache that I can feel at the base of my skull, or if I get like the sinus pressure right here or in my face, I take turmeric instead of taking, some over-the-counter anti-inflammatory or acetaminophen or something like that. It works for me just as well. It has powerful anti-inflammatory properties. So if you have arthritis, if you have asthma, if you have any kind of digestive disorder that has an inflammatory process to it, then turmeric is something that you would definitely want to add to your diet and talk to your doctor about, because it does help with any type of inflammatory response in the body. And the number of milligrams that you take, again, depends on what you're dealing with. If you wake up in the morning and you're kind of stiff and your joints kind of hurt, then this would be something good to take at night to prevent that feeling in the morning. And again, when I have any kind of aches and pains, I don't reach for any type of ibuprofen or acetaminophen. I reach for the turmeric, and it works. Now, let me talk about this combination here that I take. And there's kind of a funny story behind this. There is a combination tablet that contains all of these 4 ingredients, and it's called ZMA. It stands for zinc, magnesium, and amino acids. My husband takes it at the recommendation of his doctor, and I thought, well, I'm going to try his and just see if it works. And I took a lesser dosage because he's twice my size. So I took about half the dosage that he does just to see if it helps, because it is supposed to help with sleep and with muscle recovery. And so I thought, well, I'm just going to try it and see. Well, the next morning I woke up groggy and had diarrhea. Not a good way to start the day or to spend your day. So I knew that there was something in that combination that there was too much of, and I figured it was probably the magnesium, because too much magnesium can really upset your stomach, and too much of it also can make you groggy, because magnesium has a tendency to make you sleepy. And one of the amino acids in the combination was L-tryptophan, and we all know about L-tryptophan and the Thanksgiving turkey and how it can make you kind of sleepy. So I knew that that was just too much of a load for my system. So I bought the separate ingredients so that I could manipulate the dosage. So I've got my zinc, and I've got my magnesium, and I've got my L-theanine, which is an amino acid, and my L-tryptophan, which is the amino acid that promotes sleep. So I was able to lessen the dosage of all of them and still get the same benefit of the muscle recovery and the nice restful sleep, and not wake up with those nasty symptoms that the combination tablet gave me. So if you see ZMA on the market, just kind of be careful with it, because a 250-pound man can take that tablet, but a 140-pound woman cannot. So if you're interested in looking into that, just look at the ingredients, see what the dosage level is for each of the ingredients, and then maybe think about getting the individual pieces of it, so to speak, so that you can manipulate the dosage if it's something you want to try. Now, the last thing I'll talk about is melatonin. Now, melatonin is a natural substance that our bodies produce. When the sun goes down, it starts to get dark, our bodies realize it's time to go to sleep. And so our melatonin production goes up so that we start to get sleepy and we get ready to go to bed. And you have to play around with melatonin, because it can affect you and make you really groggy the next morning. And don't do it the way I did. I started out backwards. I started with a 10 milligram melatonin thinking, oh, 10 milligrams, that's nothing. I was a zombie the next day. It was way too much. So I backed off and I did 5. Still a little bit too much, still groggy. Well, now I take a 3, and it's a teeny tiny little tablet, but it does the trick. It puts me to sleep quickly, helps me to stay asleep all night, and when I wake up the next morning, I feel fine. So if you've never taken melatonin before, start with the 3 milligram and see what that does. And then if it's not enough, you can step it up. Don't do it backwards like I did. I act as my own lab rat very often, and very often I fail. So I hope that you don't make that same mistake. So those are the supplements that I take. And just as I said at the beginning, what works for me may not work for you. The dosage that I take may not be the right dosage for you, depending on how old you are, how tall you are, how much you weigh, where you are in the menopause journey. So please talk to your doctor before you make any changes to the regimen that you're already on. If you are on HRT and it's working fine and you don't have any issues with it, by all means, stay on it, sister. If it works, If it's fixed, if it's broke, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Okay. If you're on bioidentical hormones and those are working for you, great. But if you're still having some symptoms, or if you don't like what you've read about the long-term effects of some of the hormone replacement therapies that are out there today, then by all means, do your research, buy my book, Eat, Drink, and Be Merry Through Menopause, because it has a ton of this information in it, even more so than what I gave you during this short video segment. And it has a lot of resources in the back of the book that you can go to for additional information to get all of the information that you want before you have that conversation with your doctor. The more educated you are about the choices that you want to make for your body and for what things you are taking, the better the conversation will be with your doctor, because you already know what you want to talk about and you can kind of guide and direct the conversation with him or her. So order my book on Amazon, Eat, Drink, and Be Merry Through Menopause. It is a bestseller, so thank you to those of you who have already purchased it. And it makes a great girlfriend's gift for Christmas or for any other time of the year. It's an easy read. It's only about 95 pages long. And I hope that it will inspire you to do better in the new year and maybe make some choices and some changes in your health to get back to that place where you're feeling better and making better decisions. So join me next time for Fit and Healthy with Dawnine. And I appreciate you watching. And I hope that you have happy holidays wherever you are in the world.